Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Welcome back to my channel. It's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend. Today we're going to cover a case that isn't Laura Owens. A big surprise there. Can't stop thinking about this case, though. It's the story surrounding Brian Hooker and the disappearance of his wife, Lynette, in the Bahamas. Looks beautiful there. Now, if you've seen the interviews or clips, you already know people are analyzing his body language, which I find fascinating, picking apart his words and trying to figure out what actually happened. But that's not really what I do. I don't just look at what someone says. I tune into what their energy is doing while they're saying it, because energy will always tell you what words are trying to manage. Not as an accusation, not a conclusion, but a feeling that something doesn't fully land. So today we're going to walk through this from a psychic and energetic perspective. We're going to look at patterns, emotional tone, and where things feel aligned or not. And also, you know me, if you do, I pulled cards, my Lenormand cards, because really that's will help me sort things out. Now, I want you to remember, if you're new to my channel, I'm not declaring any guilt, but I am paying attention to where the energy doesn't quite settle. This is for entertainment purposes only. It's my commentary, my insights, and I hope that you enjoy it. And if you like this kind of content, please do me a favor and like and subscribe, and also ring the bell so you don't miss anything, and comment, but keep it kind. Okay. So here's the basic story that's being presented. Brian Hooker says that his wife Lynette fell overboard when they were out on the water. An accident. Sudden. Unexpected. But when you first hear that, your brain kind of wants to organize it quickly. Oh, okay, that's a bummer. That's tragic. But then you listen again. And this is where it gets interesting, because something is not what someone says. It's how they say it, what they repeat, and what they don't expand on, and where the emotional tone doesn't match the moment. And when I started noticing these things, that's when I start to lean in. And as I tuned into him, the first thing I felt was control. Not just composure, but control. That word definitely popped in. And there's a difference, because composure feels natural. Control feels like I need to make sure this is understood in a certain way. And when that shows up, I don't jump to conclusions, but I do start asking some deeper questions, because truth doesn't usually need that much management. Truth can be messy, emotional, nonlinear, but this feels contained, and contained energy doesn't, it always makes me a little curious. So I asked some questions and I pulled some cards. And the first question I asked was, what is he presenting publicly? And I got Tower, Clover, and Ship. Now, if you know anything about Lenormand cards, I read them they tell me a story, okay? So when I look at this, I feel distance. Like the Tower gives me emotional separation. Like almost like I'm not in this, I'm observing this. And then the Clover comes in to sort of soften it. And the ship also kind of like distances. So this kind of feels like it's being presented like this was sudden, it was unfortunate, things just shifted quickly. There's almost a wrong place, wrong time energy, but here's what I notice. It's very clean, very simple, very contained. And when something this emotional is explained in a way that feels streamlined, I don't assume, but I do pay attention. apparently he's been married to her for over 25 years. That's a long time to be, when something like this would happen, to feel contained, to be contained. All right. The next question I asked is, what is underneath that is not being shown? And this is completely different. I get heart, I get key, and I get tree. And this is completely different. There's real emotion here, but it's not following. It's held, it's contained, it's rooted. The heart and key tells me something, that this is something deeply important emotionally. And the tree tells me it didn't just start now. So underneath the surface, this doesn't feel like a one-time moment. It feels like something deeper, something established, something that's been there for a while. And the fact that it's contained instead of expressed, well, that's significant. So then I had to ask, what pattern is driving his behavior? And that is where I got bear, fox, and mountain. And this is where the pattern locks in for me. We've got control with the bear. We got strategy with the fox, and we got avoidance with the mountain. And this feels like I need to stay in control. I need to be careful. I'm not going past certain things. This is not chaotic energy. It's measured, it's calculated, it's protective. And there's also a sense of managing perception. Maintaining position and avoiding what feels too heavy or too complicated. Just sit with that for a minute, okay? So where is the biggest inconsistency? Okay, that's my next question. And we got the whip, we got the fish, and we got the scythe. And this is the moment I would tell you to pay attention. There's a pattern of repeating certain parts of the story, emphasizing specific details. This is repeating patterns. And then suddenly something gets cut off, something is skipped, something is redirected. Energetically, it feels like we can talk about this, but we're not going there. And that there is where things don't fully match. All right. So the next question is, what truth is trying to come to light? And we got woman, coffin, and garden. And this feels like it obviously centered on Lynette. Her experience, her story. And there's an energy of something being closed or finalized or put to rest. But garden brings it to the public. So this feels like something being accepted or settled publicly before it feels fully understood energetically, and her energy still feels present in the field in this situation. I found that a little fascinating. All right, here's my spidey sense moment. So let's talk about the intuitive hit that I keep getting. Again, this is not an accusation. This is me describing energy. There's a feeling that things may not have stayed calm. There may have been emotional intensity that night. And there's a moment when the energy shifts quickly. It doesn't feel drawn out. It feels like something happens, the energy spikes, and then everything after that becomes about what happens next and how it's handled. And that's the part that doesn't fully settle for me. So my final spread was cross, stars, moon, stork, ring, and anchor. And this adds another layer to what we've already talked about. There's emotional weight here. There's a story being shaped. There's a shift in the middle of it. And what stands out is something changed, something significant happened in that shift, and the narrative that followed feels anchored, meaning it's fixed. But that doesn't necessarily mean it explains everything. So we got the last thing. All right. The last set of cards was letter, dog, and sun. And this is actually a beautiful closing. It tells me that truth comes through communication over time. Okay. It comes through consistency, through patterns, and the light will be shed on the truth. Not in one moment, not in one interview, but what continues to show up. So here's where I land. I'm not here to tell you what happened, but I am here to tell you this. When I follow the energy, there are moments that feel aligned, and there are moments that feel managed. Whenever something feels managed, I pay attention because your intuition doesn't need all the answers right away. It just needs permission to notice. And if you're watching this and something in you is saying something feels off, you don't have to force a conclusion. You just have to stay open long enough for truth to reveal itself. The story that I think Brian Hooker is telling isn't the truth. He knows what happened. And the truth will come to light. So if you want more psychic insights, energy reads, or deeper dives into cases like this, make sure you subscribe. And I want to hear from you. What did you feel watching this story unfold? Drop it in the comments. And as always, I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and I'll see you in the next one.